Big ideas in small bites. This is Bite-Sized, brought to you by Accenture.
Hello everyone, I'm Mark Farbrace. I lead AI for Accenture across the UK, Ireland and Africa. I'm your guest host for today on this special edition of Bite-Sized. Together we're going to delve into my favourite topic, which is of course AI, and how it's being used to reinvent how people discover and shop for beauty products. Faced with overwhelming product choices and a lack of unbiased and often conflicting advice, an incredible 90% of shoppers buy products that don't actually work for them. So today, I'm thrilled to be joined by Maëlle Gasc, co-founder of Noli, aka the AI Beauty Matchmaker. Straight over to you, Maëlle. Tell us about Noli and what really makes it unique for today's beauty consumers.
Hello, Mark. Thank you for having me today. I'm Maëlle. I'm the co-founder of Noli with my brilliant partner, Amos. And my background is in digital scale, having previously served as Chief Growth Officer at Visa Collective. He comes from the beauty industry and has he worked 20 years, including 15 for L'Oréal. And I think it's quite important to talk about our backgrounds because that's a bit what formed the story of Noli. So together, and with the support of L'Oréal, of course, we decided to launch Noli, which stands for No One Like I, as an answer to what we know is the biggest pain point in the beauty industry, which is the overwhelm of choice and users really struggling to find the right beauty products for them. And when we interviewed users, they all confirmed it. They're lost. There is too much noise, too much advice. What can't we trust? And that's really what we're addressing. So at its heart, Noli is a tech-driven answer, bringing together the expertise of L'Oréal and two entrepreneurs to really bring a user-first answer and help them navigate beauty in a way that makes them more confident and, at the end, happier.
I think the mission's really clear. It starts with the customer, the frustrations that they have today. And what I find really interesting is how you've used AI to help kind of shape that as an experience. It'd be great if you could explain in a bit more detail how you're using AI as part of Noli as a kind of service and how you think that really helps to solve the customer challenge that you've just described.
Yes, so we were incredibly lucky to be born at the same time as LLM democratization and able to really shape the company with the support and leveraging AI, if you want. And so our vision is really to bring that level of personalized advice and expertise that was before only available to few people to everyone. So really democratizing access to expertise, advice, empathy to help people make the right choices for them. So it's not at all giving them more information because they don't need that. It's curating this information. And so practically, how do we use AI? First, there is our intelligent diagnostic tool. So the Noli experience starts with the diagnosis because to make good recommendation, you need to understand yourself and what you need. So we designed it to understand very nuanced user needs, and our system leverages insights from the analysis of more than 1 million skin data points and thousands of very meticulously categorized product formulation. So based on this, we provide insights to the user on what their skin need, what we think their focus area should be. They add other elements such as their budget or sensorial preferences, because making the right choice in beauty is not only about formulation, it's also about your own preferences. And so we combine this very rich and kind of unique user data that we gather. We match it with the product data that we have on the platform and the knowledge graph that we've built thanks to the L'Oréal knowledge. And our algorithm then matches the user with the best product for them and the best product combinations. So we currently have almost 1,000 products on the site, from brands like La Roche-Posay, Lancôme, Kiehl's, SkinCeutical, Aesop. And once you've done the diagnosis, thanks to our algorithm, you get a match score for each of these products and explainability. And the explainability is personalized to you because it's LLM generated. that really guides you and explains why this product is better than this product. So you might think that you should use a very hydrating cream because you feel that you need hydration, you hear about hydration, but actually you have an oily skin and it's better to use oil regulating ingredients. So those are the kind of insights that Noli will guide you through and then suggest products that meet your needs with the right ingredients and explanation on why.
What I really like around kind of Noli and the usage of AI is that it's not AI for AI's sake. There's a lot of hype around AI and people want to use it. It's very clear that it provides that personalization. It's like having a kind of beauty expert in the palm of your hand, essentially, but with that guided design process and all the expertise that you described from L'Oreal that sits behind it, which I think is amazing as an experience. In terms of, I guess, how that translates into what is an incredibly competitive beauty market. Everything is constantly changing, new products are launching. How do you kind of keep up with that changing environment that sits around you? And how have you kind of made sure that you stay relevant for your customers?
So we always go back to the pain point. What's clear is that we want to help consumers find the products that are right for them, not necessarily the ones that are the most trendy. But of course, trendiness and attractiveness of new products, new advice is something that is really powerful in beauty and beautiful, and we don't want to kill. We want to rather help users navigate it with the right tools. So how do we do that? We are building, thanks to L'Oreal, this knowledge graph that helps us really filter any new trends and existing trend and apply this knowledge layer that really helps us filter and validate a vast amount of information and avoid the pitfalls that you get with traditional horizontal models. But on top of that, we have designed our algorithm to also incorporate consumer reviews and enriched product data with key sensorial attributes, for example. And these reviews are always refreshed, always up to date, and they're enabling our model to stay accurate and very true to what users are experimenting and what's going on out there in the industry.
Have you seen consumers using Noli in a different way to what you'd expect? So when you start to see the usage kind of patterns and the feedback, are people engaging in a different way than maybe you designed? And have you learned from that in terms of continuous improvement and how you kind of see the vision of the future?
Yes, actually we have, because we've designed Noli at the beginning to start with the diagnosis. You do the diagnosis, you get the recommendation, and then you explore the shop. And actually we found out that lots of people were actually not using it in this very strict order, but rather coming on the product page because they were looking for a product and then looking at our little AI pictogram saying, oh, is that the right match for you? Doing a partial quiz, then doing the full quiz, then going on other product pages. And so it's actually easier for users to be progressively decoded rather than investing in the full diagnosis upfront.
And do you think that as people get more, I guess, used to AI kind of operating in that way, you might see them going straight into that full diagnosis, or they're more comfortable with AI kind of completing that as a process kind of for them? Because I've seen with other work that we've completed, how customers engage in the first instance then changes kind of over time, and they get a bit more conversational. If it's a conversational kind of platform, they trust it more, and as a result they kind of engage in a different way. So are you looking at those kind of patterns of change, and have you got a roadmap yourselves of kind of what you'd like to build into the product in the future?
As always, we're using a lot the lean startup principle. So we have hypotheses, and we have hypotheses on the key user journeys based on the pain points and what users told us they were looking for. So we think, okay, Noli could answer this pain point, this pain point. I have a skin issue, I have frizzy hair, I have blemishes, I have redness. That's one journey. The other one is that product right for me that I heard about on social network? Should I look at that? Or I'm looking for a new cleanser or serum I'd like to change, but there's one that I liked before, but I'd like to change. So that's more the way we're thinking of it. And then what we do, which is closer to what you said, is we react and adapt based on the feedback. And it happens that sometimes something completely unexpected happens and users react in a completely different way. And that's actually what we're looking for, because we can then build on it. So we're running these constant experimentations. Currently, we're looking at leveraging LLMs to do a more progressive diagnosis. So not having a fixed set of questions and answers, but adapting the questions based on the first answers of the quiz to give a better experience to the user that looks more like an interaction you could have with a human, but also to gather more insights and data around them than we would with a fixed quiz.
What I find really interesting about what you've just described is that there's the intersection of design, kind of true kind of digital experience design, and then how the LLMs and Gen AI kind of sit underneath it. And actually you need the proper intersection of the two and that real understanding of how a customer wants to engage to create an experience that really kind of resonates with them. And it sounds like you're very closely tracking kind of each of those. I guess the extension of that, are you seeing with the new large language models that are launching and the capabilities that are coming, is that shaping, I guess, what your roadmap is for the future? I'm thinking about maybe the reasoning capabilities that are emerging, which means some of the decision-making process maybe can be automated more. How do you kind of keep track of that, and how does that kind of shift the plan for you?
What we're using to constantly innovate is our sprint approach. So we're using the agile methodology, and we have sprint learnings across the full organization every 2 weeks. So if someone hears about something new, whether it is on foundational model side or a really new interface on the design side, we share it there, and we also share it, to be honest, every day and night on Slack, on dedicated Slack channels. So we have several that are about things we see that are super interesting, and sometimes it starts a conversation and all of a sudden you have 50 answers at midnight of data science with tech, with product, talking about how we could apply this to the Noli experience. So it's very exciting to see that, and very motivating to see the teams so engaged. Also because we're in a new world, it's like a new frontier that we're looking at. We're trying to form strategic partnerships to really be enablers of that innovation. And the latest one that we announced with Accenture, NVIDIA, and Microsoft is really helping to provide the platform for rapid experimentation and leveraging the best people out there, the best talent, the best advice, to really focus on what we can do best and leverage the power of these foundational models.
I think it's amazing what you've just described in terms of that startup mentality to how you drive continuous improvement, particularly in a kind of AI-driven world. And we talk a lot about kind of verticalized AI, so you have to think about these solutions end to end. And I think what you've just described matches up exactly with how we see successful clients approach that, which is that you need that deep industry kind of knowledge, which kind of comes from L'Oreal and the team that you've got on the ground. You need those technology partnerships. You need the deep understanding of the LLMs and kind of how they work. And ultimately, it's the conversations that happen between those different teams where the kind of magic happens. And it sounds like that's exactly kind of what you're doing to continuously drive kind of innovation kind of forward within Noli.
Yes, with one central element, which is being 100% sure of the pain point we're addressing and always having that as a North Star.
What's your vision for the future when it comes to Noli? Where do you imagine that you're going to be in kind of 1 year, 3 years' time?
So what we want to be is the key destination for making the right beauty choices for you. So become the reference when you need a diagnosis, expert advice, an alternative to going to a store where really I don't think the alternative even exists in the store, because finding advisors that know both about the skin, the science, and every brand out there is almost impossible. So we really want to become the reference, and we'd like to expand geographically, to also expand our curated offer. We've started to do so. We have 21 brands on the platform, and we're expanding rapidly.
You've described incredible customer engagement, really clear view of the vision of the problem that you're trying to solve from a customer side. Could you describe a bit how you're measuring success for the business as a whole?
So it's back to the North Star. We asked the question to our users, does Noli help you shop with more confidence? And 85% already say yes. And we receive amazing qualitative feedback that is organic and unprompted from consumers saying sometimes very deep things. And then as a startup, it's about hitting product market fit. So yes, we're solving this pain point, but is this enabling us to meet our monetization objectives. We're measuring this in two ways. First, we use the traditional product market fit metric, which is what percentage of users would be disappointed if your company did not exist anymore. And for us, it's 90%.
Wow.
And as an e-commerce platform, we're looking at the impact of personalization on conversion rate, of course, because that's how we monetize. And it's very exciting to see that users that are decoded convert 3 to 5 times more than users that are not decoded. And generally, they buy higher average order values. So it works on the business side. And finally, we also look at our Trustpilot score and our overall NPS, because as an e-commerce business, we're only going to create loyalty and stickiness if we're good also in e-commerce best practices. And our Trustpilot score is 4.8 out of 5.
It's clear that continuous innovation is at the heart of everything that Noli do. How have you embodied that within the team and everything that you've set up around the organisation?
Of course, it's a never-ending learning on how you enable continuous innovation. We try to do it first through our ways of working. So we really have a culture where we foster shared learnings across the organization. We do it very regularly because we're working in sprints. And every 2 weeks, we have a sprint learning session with all of the company where everyone attends and share the biggest learning of the period. And the second aspect is about being outcome-driven. So we really focus on freedom within a frame. So how do we give the teams enough freedom to focus on outcomes and not output? And by doing that, we're giving freedom to our data science team or tech teams to experiment with all the new tools that are out there and almost evolve weekly that we can't keep up with if we were trying to. So, for example, right now they're experimenting and productionizing LLM-based dynamic profiling, which means that our quiz will become dynamic based on the answer of the consumer, based on their level of expertise, based on the previous answers that they have. And not only is that a better experience for the user, it also enables us to gather more insights.
It's incredibly exciting, and looking forward to seeing kind of how it goes in the future. To bring us to a close with what is my favourite question that we ask kind of all of our guests. What are you currently kind of reading or listening to that really inspires you?
I will quote 3. I'm deeply immersed in Marty Kagan's book, and right now I'm reading Empowered, which is really about leading product profiles and empower our teams to really build truly impactful experience. So I think this one is really helpful. I'm also following closely everything that A16Z does. They have this amazing podcast. I like listening to the twins that talk about all these latest innovations in LLMs, in video, voice, generating models. I find it fascinating. And they're so obsessed on consumer applications. My all-time favorite is really Lenny's newsletter, which has a lot of practical advice. It's super deep. It's 2 hours interview, very complete, about product, growth, design, product marketing, and just I'm amazed how people transparently share about their experiences there. So I really like that.
I think they're fantastic recommendations for everybody. I'm also a big fan of the A16Z kind of podcast. Thanks so much, Maëlle, for joining us. I think it's been a really insightful discussion. I think my 3 takeaways from what you've described: number 1 is your laser focus on that vision that you've described. It is customer first in everything. The second is how you're utilizing AI. So this is AI for a really clear purpose in terms of what you're trying to achieve. And then lastly is how you've embedded continuous improvement and innovation in everything that you do across all of the teams. So I think they're 3 really important lessons to take forward for anyone that's looking at consumer innovation, AI, and how they can build amazing high-performing teams as well. So thank you very much for your time, and I hope you enjoyed the podcast.